sir.
Speak for a minute, okay?
Surely can. Come on down. Would somebody mind telling me what time it is?
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. Okay. Who are you speaking?
I'm Jerry Maltby. A fairly recent transfer up here. I'm a Tar Heel by birth from Charlotte, and I bought property here back in '95, and finally built to get out of the South Miami area stuff. And I got to tell you, I went through, graduated from high school in '61. I went through us not being integrated. I went through us having several wars. My dad was in World War II in the Pacific. He was in Korea. I went through Vietnam, like a lot of people in here. I see very few people under 40 years old here. And I think the scary part is, if you ever watched Jay Leno, back when he was in the late night show, he used to do these things talking to people on the road, and it's amazing to me how few people understand our government, how few people know anything about our government, and yet this American African was elected based on a very big groundswell, and we can't think it was just the Acorn people. He was elected by over 6 million votes. That's an outstanding number of people who voted who apparently didn't vote before. And I got to tell you, when you're in college, you don't think much about this kind of stuff. I graduated from a school that had IBM in its backyard. So IBM hired most of us from school. And the real problem was, politically, whether you agreed or not with the Vietnam War, we were put in that war under a Democratic group. And we stayed in that war based on, now that Johnson's information is out, he put us in the Gulf of Tonkin situation so we could bomb North Vietnam and keep us in the war. So it's not just Republicans. Myself, I'm a libertarian. My problem is I can't vote for primaries. Because of the situation, sometimes I will register as a Republican just because I like the conservative side of the vote. And my bottom line here is that I've grown up through several wars. I've seen the draft. I've seen segregation both go away. But I've also seen our government is going away from us, as it was developed even as early as 1954. How many of you knew that the "In God We Trust" was not always on our money? Very few hands. Everybody thought it was just here. Guess what? It was put in under the Republicans. Now, our problem is we've had a Democratic Congress for a lot of years. And finally we got some Republicans in here. We got a Republican president who I believe was a man of God. I mean, Jesus is my Lord, but I don't bring it up most of the time when you're talking politics because I don't want that to influence one way or the other. But we got to get, and I hate to say this, the 20-year-old vote is not very well informed. And I don't see enough here that have the grandchildren, whatever, still in college to go and help them be informed. And as you know, religion and politics are two subjects that most groups try to avoid, only because there's such a dissension on it, and you can't come up with 5 basic points with an outline and say, let's discuss 5 points, because it gets diverted over to 400 points, and pretty soon nobody wants to vote on anything. And to tell you the truth, when my senators or my congressmen up there haven't read a bill that was written by a third party of 1,000+ pages, why are they voting on something that they don't know about? Where's their cliff notes that says these are the 16 things or the 15 things that we're going to change in the system? I'd like to see the same system for everybody in America. We know the bottom 5% are never going to work. We know the bottom 8% are going to be in bad situations no matter what the circumstances are. But the other 92 or 85% are pretty much saying if the government just cut out the waste, get the bad guys when they use their, whether it be doctors or associations, clean up what the double payments are. I mean, when we go to a doctor now, I go to see a primary care, he wants to run tests. And he sends me to a specialist, he wants to run additional tests because they don't trust the prior test from another doctor because of litigation. If we don't get some tort reform and cut out 15 x-rays for the same thing, not only am I getting all that, and retaining it for who knows how many years. But in reality, if it's diagnosed, let's work on that diagnosis and cut out a whole lot of extras that are being done and not done. And I gotta tell you, I'm here for one reason. That's because I'm retired like most of the folks I see in here, and I got the extra time. When I'm in business and I'm working 25 hours a day, trying to keep my business above for regulations, taxation, that kind of stuff, and paying for things that I really don't benefit from, and I can't afford to give, if I only have 20 employees, them coverage because the cost of that coverage is so great. You and I, as retired people, have the time to pursue this. The only trouble is, we're going to send 100 letters. 100 letters doesn't make much impact. If I don't tell 5 other people, so that we now have 500 letters, it's really going to die in the grassroots, and that's what kills grassroots programs. That's the reason libertarians can't get on the ballot, and libertarians don't get elected, and we have 15 people run for president when only 2 even have a close shot in the primaries. And I hate to say this, but the Republicans the last couple of times have put up fairly older fellas, and the young folks don't respect older folks. This isn't Japan or Asia where they take the wisdom from their older folks. We literally need to go and put something as the Republican Party forward who's going to be a John Kennedy age, Barack Obama age, or something in their mid-40s where they got a little experience and some background, but they're not to the John McCain level. John McCain was a wonderful guy and he did that, but I got to tell you, he is not a stimulating, let's come up with something new guy. And Sarah Palin was an attractive lady, and she gave another viewpoint, and she was a mother, and that was a good viewpoint, and I was surprised that the women didn't do a better job of supporting her. But she was kind of outspoken, and she said things that she was told to say, and I hated that she stepped down from Alaska, as my wife and I spent a motor coach going around the country for 2 years. And we went to Alaska, in Anchorage and all. And I got to tell you, people up there are just the same as we are down here. They want the government to provide basic services, just like the Constitution says, but stay out of some smaller, you and I as business people. Because I'm not going to make investments if the government's going to take 50, 80% of it away. Screw it, I'll take the money and I'll live off of it and go away. And that's where we're really getting to, and that's sad. We've got the Roman Empire trying to get itself in here and take over. Khrushchev said, I'm going to kill you from within. And he's doing it by schooling, putting our liberal guys in our colleges, teaching our 20-year-olds. They're doing it with the newspapers because they now take over the biggest newspapers in the country and the emails. We got a president that's got in here and he's been talking about the transparency, which everybody wants to hear the words. But guess what? What is he doing? Even the email sites that he has and the sites that he has for .gov don't work properly, do they? And Medicare is a good program, and I'm sure a lot of folks in here are familiar with it. It's a good program, but is it being robbed? Yes, by associations and groups and whatever. Well, stop that. Send $1 billion to get that regulated. I want them to regulate things, not run things. That's all. Thank you.
We still have some time. Is there anyone else that has a question?